Hi, it's Nick S. and the CD Man channel. Today's video, we're tackling the 15 albums Bob Dylan released as Super Audio CDs in 2003, and we're going to rank them. I'm also going to give at the end of the video my list of 3 albums in no particular order that should have been Super Audios and my comments on one of them. At number 15 is an album that came out in 1978 called Street Legal. The album had a lot of female backing vocals and had no single on it. Although the changing of the guards was a popular album cut. 2 versions of this album exist, the original version and a remixed version. I own both. One's in the big box set and one is separate. I think the female vocals distract from his recordings. At number 14 is an early album. It's got a lot of classics on it, such as All I Want to Do, Chimes of Freedom, My Back Pages, and It Ain't Me, Babe. It's Another Side of Bob Dylan. Here we go, opening it up for you, and there you go. Number 13 is an album that features one of my favorite Bob Dylan singles, a song that was dedicated to the late boxer, Reuben Hurricane Carter, Desire. I just think there are other albums in his career that were better than this. Basically, the way I look at it for this album, Desire. Number 12 is an album that features probably my favorite Bob Dylan song of the 1970s, an album cut called Forever Young. The single from the album was a near top 40 hit called On a Night Like This, and it was recorded with the legendary band, starring Robbie Robertson, among others, Levon Helm, etc. And it was on the Asylum label originally when it was released in 1974. Bob Dylan and Planet Waves. Great cover artwork, one of Bob Dylan's best cover artworks. There you go. Okay. At number 11 is an album people are probably going to place a lot higher on their list than me. I just think there are better albums. Bringing It All Back Home. Bringing It All Back Home is an album that features Subterranean Homesick Blues as the hit single. It was Bob's first top 40 hit on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. It also features the classics She Belongs to Me, which Ricky Nelson would record in 1969, Maggie's Farm, Love Mine at Zero, No Limit, Bob Dylan's 115 Dream, the original of Mr. Tambourine Man, It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, and It's Over Now, All Over Now, Baby Blue. Tom Wilson was the producer. At number 10 was an album where Bob changed his voice. If you're a big Bob Dylan fan, you'll know at the end of the 1970s, his music, on a couple of his albums, he changed his voice. All I can tell you is it's definitely different. But it does feature one of Bob's best singles, the 1969 hit Lay Lady Lay. I'm talking about Nashville Skyline. The reason Nashville Skyline is so high on my list is because Girl from the North County with Johnny Cash is a fantastic, fantastic recording. One of Bob Dylan's best. At number 8 is the album that features the Bob Dylan song that I think was his best written work of all time. Not his best song, his best written work. His version is not the best by a mile. I'm talking about All Along the Watchtower and the album John Wesley Harding. Number 8 on my list. The album also features great songs such as Drifter's Escape, John Wesley Harding, and I'll Be Your Baby Tonight, which UB40 covered in 1991. There it is. Number 8. John Wesley Harding, number 8. Number 7 is an album which I consider to be one of Bob Dylan's sonically best. The sound quality in this album is immaculate. Not my favorite album musically, but sonically, definitely up in there, maybe in the top 3. And that is the 1989 album, Oh Mercy. The album was produced by super producer Daniel Lanois, who you might know from artists like U2 and Peter Gabriel, and features the classics When Teardrops Fall, Everything Is Broken, Political World, and Ring Them Bells. Fantastic listening from top to bottom, and it brought Bob Dylan out of a slump. He was in the mid to late 1980s. At number 6, let me make sure what number I'm up to. Hold on. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Number 7 is an album that came out in Bob's religious period, or born-again Christian period. but it did feature one of Bob's best singles of the 1970s, up there with Knocking on Heaven's Door, Hurricane, and Tangled Up in Blue, the single Gotta Serve Somebody. We're talking about Slow Train Coming. Of note, Bob only appeared on Saturday Night Live once, in 1979 with host Eric Idle of Monty Python fame, where he performed 3 tracks from the Slow Train Coming album, including Gotta Serve Somebody. Fantastic, fantastic record from top to bottom. Number 6. Open it up and let people see it. There is the CD. I hope it's not backwards. I hope it's not backwards. We'll get it so it's right. Hold on. There you go. Number 6. Number 7. Sorry, number 7. Number 6 is an album that came along in one of Bob's better periods, the late 90s, early 2000s. More to come on that period a little bit later. Fantastic record from top to bottom, and it was called Love and Theft. And if you go to your local record store, the SACD version is the only version commercially available at this point. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The album was produced by Jack Frost, who most Dylan fans know as Bob Dylan, and features the classic tracks Mississippi, High Water for Charlie Patton, Honest With Me, Po' Boy, and Sugar Baby. Mississippi you may know as a Sheryl Crow song, as she put it on one of her albums later in the decade. Fantastic, fantastic record. Number 5 is an album that a lot of people would put as their favorite Bob Dylan album, or second place maybe. I just thought too much of a good thing. So I put it at number 5. Bob Dylan and the legendary 1965 or 66 release called Blonde on Blonde. There it is. There's a big picture of Dylan like that. I can't show the whole thing, but there's a big picture of Dylan like that. Double album on this CD, although the single version does exist. And let me get the booklet out. I will give you a list of classic tracks that are on this album. Rainy Day Women 12 and 35. Visions of Joanna. One of Us Must Know, Sooner or Later. I Want You. Stuck Inside the Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again. Leopard Skin Pillbox Hat. Just Like a Woman. Most Likely You Go Your Way and I'll Go Mine. Temporary Like Achilles. Absolute Sweet Marie. And Sad Eye Lady, The Lowlands, which is a masterpiece in my opinion from Dylan. All are on that album, Blonde on Blonde. Number 4 is an album that most people, including Rolling Stones, put as the number 1 album on their 500 albums list. I just think there are better albums than this, and it's just a man's personal opinion. Ranking number 4 is Highway 61, Revisited. There's the album, there's the back cover. There's the disc. On this album are classics like a Rolling Stone, Tombstone Blues, Ballad of a Thin Man, Queen Jane Approximately, the title cut Highway 61 Revisited, just like Tom Thumb's Blues, and the legendary Desolation Row. Classic from top to bottom. I don't fault anybody for putting this as their number 1 Dylan album, though I think there are better albums in my opinion. Number 3 on the list here is Bob Dylan's first masterpiece. An album from 1962, or is it 63? And the picture was taken on Cornelia Street near my mom's house in Manhattan when she had her house there. It's Bob Dylan and the Freewheeling Bob Dylan, number 3. Classic tracks from this album include Blowin' in the Wind, Girl from North County, the original version, Masters of War, which Eddie Vedder and Mike McCready of Pearl Jam did masterfully at the 30th anniversary concert. A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. Check out Eric Clapton's version from the 30th anniversary concert, the definitive version of that song. Karina Karina. Just a top-notch album overall from top to bottom, and his best folk album. At number 2 is an album that a lot of people have slept on probably. It's probably the most underrated Dylan album of all time. Helping on the album are reggae superstars Sly and Robbie, and Dire Straits guitarist Mark Knopfler. We're talking about 1983's Infidels. Fantastic, fantastic record. People have slept on this album for years, in my opinion. Classic tracks include, let me get the list here. Classic tracks include Joker Man, Neighborhood Bully, I and I, Don't Fall Apart on Me Tonight, which the OJs covered, and the single, his last to make the Hot 100 as a solo artist, 1983's Sweethearts Like You. A fantastic album, top to bottom. But the number one Dylan SACD is an album that went to number one in 1975. And a little bit of family news. One of my sister's best friends, her husband or partner, was a bassist on this album. It's Bob Dylan and Blood on the Tracks. Absolutely fantastic album. Classic tracks include Tangle Up in Blue, Simple Twist of Fate, Idiot Wind, You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go, which Miley Cyrus covered on a Bob Dylan tribute album. If You See Her, Say Hello, Shelter from the Storm, which Chris of Coldplay covered on an at-home episode of SNL. Fantastic, fantastic record. One of Bob Dylan's masterpiece. Now, there are 3 albums, in my opinion, that Bob Dylan released that I believe should have been Super Audios at the same time that were overlooked. The first one to be overlooked was an album called New Morning. That's the album with If Not For You, that George Harrison and Olivia Newton-John would go on to cover that one. That should have been Super Audio. The second one was The Times They Are Changing from the 1960s. I think it was Times They Are Changing. Yes, Times They Are Changing from the 60s. Absolutely fantastic record. And the third one is the one that I have a problem with. Why has Time Out of Mind by Bob Dylan never been remastered? In the box set, the big red box set with all of his Columbia albums, that's the only album in the collection that was never remastered. I don't understand that. Time Out of Mind is probably Bob Dylan's second or third best album of all time. To be omitted like that after winning a Grammy is disappointing. Now, he also couldn't have put in this set 2 other albums, Modern Times and Together Through Life, which came out after the Super Audio CDs came out. Those albums would be worthy if they were released at the same time. Anyway, that's my ranking of Bob Dylan's Super Audio CDs, top 15. Blood on the Tracks, number 1. Infidels, number 2. The Freewheeling Bob Dylan, number 3. Highway 61 Revisited, number 4. Blonde on Blonde, number 5. Love and Theft, number 6. Slow Train Coming, number 7. Sorry, is that backwards? No, it's not. Oh, sorry, this is backwards. Slow Train Coming, number 7. The Sonically Beautiful Oh Mercy, number 8. John Wesley Harding, number 9. Nashville Skyline, number 10. Bring It All Back Home, number 11. Planet Waves, number 12. Desire, number 13. Another Side of Bob Dylan, number 14. And Street Legal, number 15. That's it for the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, put a like, dingy for notifications, and subscribe. My name is Nick S., the CD Man, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Keep rocking.